Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, from wherever you're joining. So I'm Shubham. I am a product manager with a background in computer science. I work with the German healthcare startup MedBell. I'm currently based in Berlin. On the side, I do also a bunch of different things, mentoring on ADP list. I also work with the nonprofit where we work on the behavioral economics aspects of things, and also an amateur photographer on Instagram as well. I'm not an AI expert or so, but I would consider myself an AI enthusiast, and that's why I'm here to kind of share this excitement and a little bit of knowledge about what's been going on in the world. Here is the agenda for the talk. We'll start with the basics, understanding a little bit of terminology. As I had mentioned, this chat is focused on folks from non-technical background to kind of build a vocabulary that they can use. And from there, we will go on to different tools, how to use them, what's the use case. We will do a very simple exercise to see what are the capabilities of these tools. Then we will look at, talk a bit about what's the future holds for all of us. How did I come up with the idea of this session? Since ChatGPT launched, it has been everywhere on social media, and people are posting quite a lot of different things that they are achieving ChatGPT, right? So it launched in November, but it has already got like around 5 million users who are actively using it for various purposes. We are also seeing a lot of other sort of AI tools have come, and you have an AI tool for everything, no matter it's like image, video, text, you name it, you got it. And a lot of speculation has been going on social media about what is going to happen, what does the future look like with these tools. And I thought it was a good time to get together and understand, okay, exactly how these things work and kind of demystify what's been going on. So let's start with understanding the basics first. Alan Turing, one of the most important personalities in the field of computing. We also have an award called the Turing Award, which is like the Oscar award in the field of computer science, and it's given every year. He was working on cracking encryption during the World War II, and he was one of the early pioneers of computation. And in 1950, and that's so long back, he created a test called the Turing Test. And the idea was simple, that let's say you are this entity C who is talking to two other entities in the respective room, and you don't know who is inside that room, but you just interact with those two different rooms using like a sheet of paper, which is passed through a small opening. And you have to figure out which one is a real human and which might be a machine. So the point I want to make here is that AI is not something very new. This idea of an intelligent machines has been there from quite a long time. And the Turing test, which was created a long time back, is a really good example of how did the field began and how it started growing from there. Now let's understand what are these different terminologies that we keep hearing, right? So there's artificial intelligence, there's machine learning. So as we saw, the field of artificial intelligence, so that's the complete field that deals with creating any sort of intelligent agents, which is obviously humans have intelligence, and how can you create that kind of intelligence in an artificial manner? And there have been various different methods of creating those artificial intelligence, but that's the entire field, right? Then we come to machine learning, which is basically a subset of artificial intelligence. That is not the only way you can create artificial intelligence, but it is one of the most powerful techniques that we have seen in action. A lot of the tools that we see like ChatGPT and everything, they are based on this paradigm, and we will see exactly what does machine learning means. And then there are further a lot more specific terms are coming like deep learning and so on. But it's important to understand that AI is a field in itself, while machine learning is one of a subset of AI on how you can generate these intelligent machines. There is one more term that you might come across is this concept of artificial general intelligence. How can we create an entity that is that can almost mimic human intelligence in the way that humans can do a wide variety of tasks, right? Humans can write poems, they can write essays, They can write job resumes and letters and so on. So when we started building AI in the start, there is something called as narrow AI. And narrow AI is something that can only do a very, very specific kind of task, right? So what are the examples of narrow AI? So you take Google Translate. So that is a specific kind of intelligence that is good at doing one thing, and that one thing is translation, right? It cannot do anything other than that. Then you have something like your face unlock, which kind of detects your face. That is another example of narrow AI, right? And now slowly we are shifting to this domain of general AI. How can we train one entity that can do much more than just one task? So how can we train something that can do translate, that can create, and can do wide variety of tasks? And ChatGPT is kind of a closer example to this. And super AI, as some of the futurists like to speculate, will be a point in time where machines might be actually much more intelligent and surpass the human intelligence as well. But obviously we'll see there's a lot of time in reaching that point. But I think currently we are getting closer to this general AI. And as we will see with ChatGPT, how it is already capable of doing quite a wide variety of tasks. Important thing, I think, is to understand what's the difference between programming and machine learning. Programming has been the act of where we give specific instructions to the machine, right? So, okay, I want you to do this, this, and this, right? So what you're seeing on the screen on the left is a very simple program in a very old programming language called BASIC, where we are asking the computer that I want you to print hello Wikipedia 10 times, right? So you have given it exact instruction and it will go and do exactly that. So that has been programming, where you tell exactly to the computer what to do. But in terms of machine learning, it's a bit different. We are not giving exact instructions to the machine, but what we are doing is, hey, machine, look at all this data. So we, instead of instructions, we are providing data, and the data goes through a process called training, during which it tries to identify what are the patterns in the data. So a very simple example of this is how your spam filter works in your Gmail or in your mail account. What they have done is they have taken a lot of email data and they have said, okay, this looks like a spam, this is not spam, not spam. And then they take this data and give to the machine, okay, now you learn how you are going to define whether this is spam or not spam, basically. So that's the difference between programming and machine learning. In one side, we have instructions, while in machine learning, we give it data and we ask it to find out what are the patterns in this data. So that's how that works, okay? And the end product of machine learning is what we get is basically a model. And that's kind of the technical term for that. And that's what you will hear. ChatGPT is a model. All these AI tools are a model. And once you have this model, which is trained to do a specific task, then what you can do is you can provide it an input, right? So you provide it an input. Let's say we have a model which is trained to identify images. When you provide it an input of this light bulb, what happens is you get the output, okay, this is a bulb. So the model is identifying what this particular thing is, basically. One last thing in understanding how these tools work is that as we saw in machine learning, it's all about providing data to the machine and so that the machine can learn to identify patterns, and that's how it learns. But along with data comes a lot of other issues. If we don't provide complete data, or if we provide skewed data to the model itself is going to be biased, right? And you might be hearing these things like, okay, the AI is biased and things like that. It completely depends on what data was provided in training that model. For example, let's say we are trying to train a model which can predict whether a patient has diabetes or not, right? So now ideally you should provide equal amounts of male patients and equal amount of female patients. And now if you happen to provide more male patients, this is a bit skewed, right? So the model will not be able to accurately predict for female patients whether the patient has diabetes or not, right? So this is one example. Another example would be we do not provide complete data to the app itself, right? So it's the data is incomplete. And you might have seen some news came of a AI portrait app, which was not able to detect the faces of color very well, And the possible reason for that would be that model was not trained on a wide variety of data set. And that's what happens when you don't provide complete data set to that. And the last one is that you just provide incorrect data. All data in the world is recorded by humans. And if the human itself makes a mistake in collecting the data all that error and all that bias will actually end up going in the model itself. Yep. So the key takeaway here is whenever you see a model and you see it acting in a strange way, it has nothing to do with who programmed it or who trained it. It has to do with what data it was provided to train on. Now let's dive into the fun part, which is what are the different tools that we have and what are the different use cases we can do with these tools. Already we have a plethora of tools and a lot of startups are coming every day. And this is the image that you are seeing. You can already see this more than hundreds of startups for text, for image, for audio. We have even AI tools now which can write codes themselves, right? And a lot more. Two of the tools that we will have a look today is one is ChatGPT and other one is Midjourney, basically. And so ChatGPT is the text-based tool and Midjourney is an image-based tool. So starting with ChatGPT, what it is. LLM is one of the terms that you will also hear, which is, so ChatGPT is a large language model. So how is that different from what we have done before is that when a large language model is basically something that is trained on huge amount of text. So basically you can almost imagine that all the digital text that was available, they took all of that and they provided it to the model. And that's what you basically call a large language model. It is optimized for dialogue. That means you can have a chat with it, and we will see shortly that in action. And it can do wide variety of text-based tasks. And I think that is one of the key reasons why ChatGPT has grown in popularity so much, because people have been able to do quite a wide variety of tasks with that, right? So it can generate text in any format. It can have a conversation with you. It can explain concepts to you. It can expand or summarize on any topic. But there are some things which it can't do well yet. And that's more have to do with the maths or the logic part, because that's what not it was trained to do. It was only trained to kind of look at text and predict pieces of text, so not at actual logic. It cannot also do factual information correctly, so it does not have a concept of absolute truth in the system, right? So you can ask ChatGPT something and it will give you some answer, but you should not rely that this is the factually correct information that it is trying to provide. And sometimes it can be too generic, and we will see some examples of it. It's important to understand what's the best way to use these large language models, and the technical terminology for this is prompt. Prompt is an input that we provide to the language model. So every time you say to ChatGPT, can you generate X or Y? You are basically providing a prompt to this language model. And based on whatever prompt you provide, it gives you an output. Now, why it is important with this prompt concept is because previously we used to have specific models which were not good at doing a wide variety of tasks. So that means they can only do one thing. So it was very easy to interact with that. You give it input, you get the output. But with large language models like ChatGPT, it can do a wide variety of tasks. That means you need to be careful about how you provide the input so that you get the expected output that you are actually looking to get from that. And that's why it's important to understand this concept of prompt. So here is a basic example, right? So let's say you want to generate a summary, right? And you can provide it an article, you can copy paste that thing, and you can say, ChatGPT, summarize this thing for me. One thing with the prompt is that the more specific you are, the better it's going to do it for you, right? So you can say, summarize this article, and it might do something, but it might not be in the exact way that you need it, right? So you need to tell it exactly what you're looking for. Are you looking for a short paragraph? Are you looking for a point-by-point summary? So you need to be very specific, and the more specific you are, the more exact output you are going to get out of this model. This is another kind of thing that you can do with ChatGPT, is that you can try to have a conversation with it in any particular style, basically, right? And this is basically kind of a monkey see, monkey do sort of thing, because you have to show it an example. So here in this example, what we are seeing, okay, I want, it's an agent that can answer user questions. So you have to provide it with some examples. Okay, hey, user is going to say this, you have to reply like this. So if you provide 1 or 2 examples, that will be enough for ChatGPT to actually just take that, and then it can start mimicking that specific behavior, right? So this is quite different than what we provided here, right? So this is very simple. You just say, I want a summary, it gives the summary. And this is more of a complex example of where you actually provided some specific examples, and then it starts mimicking and behaving in that manner. And this is one of the complex use cases. So the example here shows that this program, this takes a movie review and it says whether this movie review is positive or negative, right? Now, in the old times, if we have to create a machine learning model to do this, it will be a very narrow model, which will be very good at only doing one specific task. But now with ChatGPT, anybody can actually create it. All you have to do is just provide it some very basic examples. So you say, you are a movie reviewer, and here I'm going to provide you some examples, and you have to say this is positive or this is negative, right? And then automatically it just learns with those 2 examples, and it can start doing all those amazing things for you. So here are some of the use cases, and I think we might have people joining here from very different backgrounds, and you can see some of the use cases that might be actually applicable for your specific thing. So Mozam had put a question in the chat: how can UX designers use help of ChatGPT? So to answer that, obviously ChatGPT is more of a text focused thing. So obviously you cannot ask it to generate UI or anything, but you can still do quite a lot. For example, as one of the things that we do in UX, as Lakshay has also put in chat now, you can use it in UX writing, and you can use it in various different ways, like even for generating an information architecture. So if you provide it some context, okay, I want to create this website, can you provide like an information architecture? And maybe we can actually try this in action. Provide an information architecture for a food delivery app. Right, see, so it starts putting some very basic things, and my prompt, this was a pretty generic prompt, right? So I've not given it any more details. I could have gone in very much specifics and say, but yeah, this is, we asked ChatGPT to provide an information architecture, and then even you can ask it to detail on something, right? So let's say we have home screen, and we can say, can you detail how the elements on the home screen? And it will go in further detail and describe, okay, what all things you should put on the home screen, right? So this is one of the things, right? So Sandy, your question, would it provide same content for different users? That might create problem like plagiarism. So even Sandy, when you are using ChatGPT yourself, even if you try the same prompt again and again, it will provide you a different output, basically, right? So even for a single user, it will provide different set of outputs. Yeah. Yeah, and Mario has put it quite well that we will not lose our jobs to the AI, but we may lose it to the person that knows how to use the AI. Yeah, that would be the right way to put it. Thanks, Mario. All right, so let's talk quickly about another tool, Midjourney, and then we will do a small exercise on ChatGPT and Midjourney. So what is Midjourney? Midjourney is more of a image focused tool, right? And currently what we are seeing is these different tools, right? So you have a text based tool, you have an image based tool, you have a video tool, And I think in near future, we are going to see tools which will have everything in one. And there might be already tools out there which can do all in one, but I am sure it's going to happen very soon. So what can Midjourney do? It can generate images of any sorts in any different art styles, right? And even some people have tried to actually generate some UI designs with it, right? And which was very surprising to me. I just thought it will be limited to just generating, landscapes and portraits, but the results have been actually quite impressive. So here are some of the examples, and you can see these are very different sort of examples, right? So on the right side, we are seeing there is some portrait, there is some cartoon, which you can generate. And how this tool work is you need to provide it in text description. So you would say, I want a scary robot, right? And it will go and try to create an image of that thing. In the middle, what you are seeing is where somebody has actually tried to generate an app icon for that, and by giving it a specific description, and that looks quite interesting. And on the left, what you are seeing is somebody has tried to generate like a gardening app UI for through this thing, right? And it has given quite nice color schemes and some layout ideas as well. Again, the use cases of AI tools are completely dependent on you. If you can think it, you can do it, right? So let's say as a UI designer, you are creating your own portfolio and you want some stock images and you want some stock text, just copy. You can go to ChatGPT, ask for some stock text. You can use Midjourney like tools to generate some stock images. So you can use it in quite different sort of ways. Let's put these tools to the test and see actually how you might use it in your day-to-day jobs. What I would like to do here as part of this exercise is that let's create a fictional startup, and I would like to get some ideas in the chat, maybe in what domain should we try and create this fictional startup. So it's a food, health, space, anything can be. Maybe if you want to pop in some idea into the chat, and then we are going to ask ChatGPT to create various things of that startup. So we'll get the name, tagline, logo, everything, business plan, sales, marketing, right? And that's how we'll see what sort of different diverse tasks it can do. If you have some ideas, please put in there. Okay, so we have health, we have fintech, we have pet industry. So let's go with fintech, but maybe let's make it a little more fun, where we say we want to create a fintech app for teenagers to learn how to manage their money. And all of these industry, all the things that you have put, you can try this exercise in your own time as well. It's very simple, right? So so we have fintech industry. So let's say generate some ideas for a fintech startup for teenagers to help them manage money better, right? So ChatGPT goes and does its thing. Let's wait. What are the different things that are coming from this? So mobile that helps teenagers track their spending and budgets. Okay. A platform that connects teenagers with financial mentors. Okay. A reward-based system, an online marketplace, tools for parents to set their allowance, debit card for teenagers, right? So we have got quite a bit of ideas here. I like the third one. So now we have a name, we have a tagline. Now we need a website for this thing. Can you suggest a landing page for this? So we are going to ask, how does the landing page look like? So let's see. Okay, so it's giving us a layout for the landing page. We can see, okay, there's a header, there's some body, about overview section, and if we have UX designers here, you can see how good or bad this tool is doing at the moment, right? So it's talking about the footer and everything, and it's saying, and then please note this is just a suggestion, and you can obviously adjust the layout. So it has given a suggestion for the landing page. right? And I can even go and ask it to generate code, right? Because obviously somebody needs to create this landing page in HTML and CSS, and you can ask it to generate code as well. Can you generate HTML and CSS code for the landing page? So it will go and do that. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe I think something might have got changed. Okay, it's still giving some example. Right, and if you are a designer who is trying to learn HTML, I think this is a good way to start seeing how HTML might work. So ChatGPT might give some HTML to you, and you can go and try that out and see how that works, right? And but there is this amazing website where you can see what all things you can do with ChatGPT, and you can ask it to be an entity, right? So you can ask it to be an English translator, you can ask it to be a travel guide, you can ask it to be an advertiser, a storyteller, motivational coach, whatever you want it to be, a debate coach, screenwriter, novelist, movie critic, relationship coach, whatever you want to try, it's all there. And I would suggest you try it out and see how it behaves in different scenarios. And how this tool is able to do this is because this is a large language model. So that's the term that we need to remember. It has been trained on a wide variety of text. Imagine a human went and read all the books on all the different topics in the world. That's what ChatGPT is, right? So the only problem with humans is we cannot read all the topics and all the books. It will take us years to do that. But something like ChatGPT can be trained very fast. It can read all those books and it can actually remember what all it has read, while a human might easily forget, right? And that's where this power of ChatGPT kind of comes from. So it can generate code. Let's ask it to generate a marketing plan. Can you generate a marketing plan, right? And whatever job you are in, you can ask it to do very specific things here. So it can generate marketing plan, sales plan, but obviously you need to keep this in mind. What it's giving, it might not be the best thing out there. So it's up to you how you want to take this information and what do you want to actually do with the information. The exercise we are doing is to just show you what all different ways you can actually start utilizing this tool, basically. So let's go to the Midjourney side, and so we got the name, tagline, and everything. We have a landing page, we have a marketing plan, but we obviously need a logo, right? So we need to generate a logo. I'll show you some examples of what the last workshop that we did. So we decided to actually create a space startup, right? And it was a space travel startup. And this was the logo that the Midjourney actually designed for us. So this was the logo. And these were some examples of the landing page that Midjourney had created. Right. And currently these look like more like, we don't see these kind of landing pages in action. These are more like the portfolio you might have seen on Dribbble or Behance. But I think they're a very good way of getting some inspiration, basically, right? This was another thing that we had tried for a food app, right? So let's try for our Fin Mentor app. So it's a finance app, and I'm into Midjourney now, and let's ask it what are we looking for. So we are looking for a logo design we are looking for a logo design for a fintech app for teenagers. And the more specific you are, the more specific it's going to be. And you can see what all different things people are actually generating here. So I'm going to say logo design fintech app for teenagers and modern, sleek. Anybody has any preference for what colors we might want to see in this one? So maybe let's pick 2 colors. So we have a nice dual tone theme here. Gold. Okay, that's an interesting one. So let's do gold. And maybe let's do black. I think maybe gold and black might look good together. And for fintech as well. Okay, so I forgot one thing. So you need to first say imagine and okay. So Midjourney is now doing its thing. So whenever you give something to Midjourney, it comes up with like 4 different variations. So we asked it logo. It has, I think it got a bit confused. It also went and gave us like some app design ideas as well. But you can see, so we said gold, black. So it's got that right, sleek, modern sort of UI thing, right? And I think this is kind of a good starting point for from a UI inspiration perspective. Let's do a landing page design, and that will kind of complete our exercise. And if you have any, so U1, U2, Lakshay, what it does is it creates like different variations, and then you need to decide which photo you want to pick, and then it will go and generate like a high resolution version of that, right? So here it has generated like a low resolution version, and once you click on which one you want to pick, then it will go generate a bigger resolution file for you. Yeah, that's what it means. So now we are saying landing page design. And then now let's wait to see what does it do. So it's in work, and we can see starting to create some designs. So this is where we have, and we can move forward while we wait for this to generate the high scale version. I think there was a question, how do we protect my career? I think the right way to see AI tools is currently it's not going to replace anybody, because you still need someone to tell the AI tool what to do. I think the right way to think about these tools is to think that you have your own personal assistant or like a friend with whom you can discuss and bounce back ideas. Or you can think like it's like your own dedicated intern. You can ask it to, if you are stuck in a creative block, you can generate ideas with it, right? If you are stuck in a writer's block, you are not able to start on something, you can use something like ChatGPT to generate a draft, and you can take that draft and refine it further. Key thing that's very important to keep in mind is the prompt design and engineering, right? So prompt means the more specific you are, the more better that is. More context you provide, that will be better, right? You need to tell exactly what you want. Do you want like a point by point thing? You want a summary? And if necessary, provide it examples. You should be careful. You should not be offloading your thinking to it, right? So don't be like, okay, I'm not sure what to do, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT and my work is done here. I think that's not the right way to kind of use it, and don't get used to that habit, that will affect your own cognitive thinking capabilities, right? It will actually degrade your mind if you start using it in that specific way. So let's see what Midjourney has done. The scaled up version, which was created, right? And this is difficult page to kind of create, and it has only given us like the header and not like the complete page, but you can provide it more details and it will do that. Midjourney might not be the best tool if you are looking to design UI and things, and I'm sure there are hundreds of more tools that have come out there which can do specifically UI design and kind of thing in a much better way. But I think we have seen what are the capabilities of what sort of things people are doing, right? And in this one, I want to leave you with some questions instead of answers, because nobody can look into the future. But I think once we start seeing these sort of tools, we need to start asking, right, how does it start affecting the jobs? And if jobs get affected, then it will also definitely affect the education. Why? Because now if we have different jobs, then the same education does not work for those kind of jobs, right? So somewhere down the line, the education will also have to adjust for the jobs that are will be changing. Economics will also change, and then also the creativity, right? What about creativity in itself, right? So we have seen ChatGPT doing so much, we have seen Midjourney doing so much. I think maybe human creativity will be more valued now, and something that has been created by a human, its value will increase, because now everybody can use ChatGPT to create something. But if something that has been really created by a human, so its value will go up in time. But these are some of the questions for you to think about in the world that we are going ahead. So how can I prepare for an AI world? So there are some basic things, right? I think the number one thing is open your mind. You need to develop a learning mindset. Don't be like, okay, I don't know, there are some tools, yeah, whatever, right? You need to change your mindset to a learning mindset. Don't be afraid of learning. Every time we try to learn something, it can be scary because it's something new that we are trying to learn, which we don't know. But you can take it easy, take it step by step, and kind of watch a lot of tutorials and everything. Everything is available on Google or YouTube. Another important thing is, I would say, start using the tools. So if you have not used ChatGPT, if you have not used Midjourney or any of the tools, I would say today itself, go and actually start playing with the tools, right? Experiment with it, keep playing with it, because there is no substitute for actually doing it, right? You can watch all the videos, but at the end of the day, you need to still go and start playing with it. Keep an eye on the trends, and I will send a resource at the end of the talk, which will have all the resources that you can look at, and keep exploring. Anything you see new, go on YouTube and Google, find out more about that. Right? That's my suggestion for all. I would like to thank you for your time and attention. I know it's already too late to say Happy New Year, but since we all are talking for the first time, so I wish you all a Happy New Year. Please feel free to reach out to me on any of the platforms. Please feel free to share your learnings on social media. Tag me if you want to. What did you get from this call? Thanks once again. I had quite a bit of fun for doing this. And thanks to everyone who joined. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.